Hey guys, it's me, Pre, aka that Pokemon Boy, and today I'm going to start off by apologising, as I usually do after a break. I'm going to apologise because I haven't been uploading. I think it's been probably 2 weeks now, maybe, that I've not uploaded. A lot of stuff has gone, a lot of stuff has been going on, IRL, for the league. There's various reasons. Sometimes when I do have a chance to record, maybe I don't feel like it because, you know, I can only record one or whatever. But don't worry, that's all about to change. I am going to be recording again. This will be the first of 2 videos you guys will have missed from the IEP. So this one will have 1 battle and the next one will have 2, kind of like how I used to do it in Season 1. This one was against Alex, the coach of the Violet Venoshock. She has a very threatening team, as you can see. She's got the Dragon Fairy Steel Core going on. Gliscor is a beast as well, and then Luxray for Intimidate. We were sitting 7 games played, 7 wins out of 7 games, and this was my team. I'll quickly explain it. I basically brought Hippowdon, and then I had Ice Fang to try and take the Gliscor on if it didn't carry Toxic. I had Physically Defensive Tentacruel, so that I could handle most of the Pokemon on her team. Stoutland was my answer to Empoleon. It carried, it was Life Orb, I think, Superpower. So this was to hit the Empoleon. Choice Band Talonflame. This was Expert Bell Clowitzer with Sludge Wave to hit the Clefable, and then Melee, yes. So she leads Hydreigon as I go Tentacruel. I'm expecting an Earth Power, and that's what happens. I go, just go for the Confuse Ray. My obvious play here would be into Latias, but I didn't feel as if I needed to make that play. I went into Talonflame instead because if she switched, then I could scout for the switch. Basically, I could see what she switched into, and then U-turn, considering this was her Scarfer. So U-turn doesn't really do a lot. I wasn't expecting to do a lot. I go into Clowitzer, the Skull comes off. She's basically looking for damage at that point. I go for the Aura Sphere, knowing Clefable is going to come in because Aura Sphere plus Sludge Wave kills. Her best play here would be Protect, and she actually goes for it. So I revealed Sludge Wave, and I decided here she'll be switching, so I thought I could go for Scald. Exactly what I do is Metagross comes in, that's nice and damage here. I'm carrying Dark Pulse, so I can basically kill this thing here. But she gets the flinch on the Zen Headbutt, so I couldn't do that. Can't really live the next hit. Makes a nice prediction here on Alex's part as she goes for the Ice Punch. But because I knew I could live at least 2, I went into Powdon. Because that way I could see exactly what set she was running. And that way I could tell if she was adamant or not, which would then allow me to outspeed guaranteed with Latias. Hippowdon slacks off here basically on the switch, knowing I could live 1 more. And the Protect comes in, that was fine because I went for Rocks. Her best play was definitely the Toxic, because I went for Ice Fang. It didn't do as much as I thought it would. I thought she might be cheeky and bring Special Gliscor, but she brought Physically Defensive. So obviously I wasn't doing a lot there. I decided to make the switch out into Latias as the Roost comes here. Now I thought she might overpredict, but she made the correct play and went into Empoleon. I probably made a bad play here and revealed the Ice Beam. I probably should have doubled into something else. But I know she'd be going for either the Defog or the Ice Beam here, so I decided to go into Stoutland, as Stoutland could take either one of those, and then I could basically Superpower and kill something, unless she went into Gliscor, in which case that dies to a Return plus the Return plus Superpower, although the recoil, so maybe not. But here the Ice Beam comes in and I get Frozen. That is kind of huge because it means that the biggest thing I had to fought Empoleon was now Frozen. Nevertheless, I tried to break out. Doesn't quite work out like that. She gets the Defog off. Tried to do it again. Obviously, it didn't matter because she went into Luxray anyway. Got the Intimidate. But I'm still Frozen. I have to switch at this point. Go into Powdon. But I went into Powdon thinking if this was physical, I could take the Ice Fang. And if for whatever reason it was special, then I could obviously go back into Tentacle. Hippowdon's getting done here a bit by the Toxic. That's not an issue. I went for the Slacker. The Gliscor's best play here would probably be Roost. She goes for an Aerial Ace. Roost, sorry, I meant to Protect, although the rocks were coming in anyway. And I'm back down to 57, but at least I got rocks, so that was my thinking there. As Aerials comes in, as you can see, it doesn't do too much to this Tentacle. Black Sludge is my only recovery, but I knew she had to go into Empoleon because if for whatever reason I sped and I had EVs to outspeed that Gliscor, although I think I'm naturally outspeed anyway, if for whatever reason I outsped, I could basically, I had a chance, I think, to Oko, possibly. I went for the Scald. Don't quite get the burn, but it doesn't really matter. At this point I go for Confuse Ray, trying to fish for some hacks of my own to make up the ice, and that does. And here I think I go for the Toxic Spikes. No, actually I doubled it back into Stoutland as the confusion comes again, and here I'm basically just trying to freeze myself out. Went for the return here because the Luxray play was her best, but I was still frozen. I decided to stay in because Ice Fang was again an obvious play. Crit really doesn't make a difference. As Glasgow comes in on my Hippowdon, and there's not much I can do at this point because the Starland is frozen, so I couldn't get through the Empoleon. I go for a Slack Off because there's not really any other play I could make here. And I bring Latias in on the Aerial Ace. Now here the obvious play would be into Empoleon, so I doubled back into Stoutland, predicting that. And I was hoping here, basically, I thought she would go for the Scald, so if I broke here and Superpowered I could kill this thing. Unfortunately I was still frozen. And that's my Stoutland gone, so my only hope here was crit with the Klawitza. I don't get the crit, although fishing hacks is never really good. HP is revealed, so it was Defog, Ice Beam, Scald, and HP. I think this was HP Rock for Talonflame, but that doesn't make sense either, so it may have been HP Ground, or HP, yeah, maybe HP Ground for the Tentacle. But yeah, at 34, Talonflame can come in and Flare Blitz something. The Gliscor comes in, and I think I 2 KO with Flare Blitz. I do indeed. Oh, actually no, I probably don't. As it comes to 53, I go into Hippowdon because it was my safe play. The Protect obviously is what she went for. And then I went back into Tentacle thinking Protect would come again, exactly how it goes. That was definitely a good play for her though, because she doesn't really lose much from going for Protect. Empoleon comes in here as I go for the Scald. Kind of hoping for a ban, but I couldn't get it. This was a great play on her part because she went into Clefable. I went for Confuse Ray. She basically wishes this turn to bring it back into the Empoleon. Oh, sorry, I fast forwarded, but effectively what happens is she wished into the Empoleon to bring that back to full health so that we could take on the Talonflame, because otherwise there was still a chance I could win, but not anymore. As this Luxray comes in, I went for the U-turn and I go into Latias, so this is a free Psychic, because she can't go into Empoleon in case I doubled back. And going into Hydreigon was too risky because I could have gone for a Dragon type attack. Same with Clefable if I went for Psychic. So sacking Luxray was a good idea because it basically let her scout as Empoleon comes in. I go into Tentacle, the Skull gets the burn. I go for Confuse Ray, get the Confuse hacks, and not much else I can do really at this point. So I go into Talonflame as she doubles into Fable, and I had a very small chance to kill, so I just went for the Flare Blitz. Now I probably couldn't, but it was too risky of her to go for Moonblast. I didn't think she'd have Thunderbolt. Gliscor comes in, and that's a 2 KO, obviously, so my best play here was the Flare Blitz again, as she went for Protect. Now here is where I lost the game, spoilers, but I should have gone for Flare Blitz here as well. I think I did actually, so it was later on, sorry. I went for Flare Blitz now. Probably should have doubled here, knowing that I thought the Empoleon would come in actually, so I did get this one wrong. I probably should have doubled anyway, because this Hydreigon is scarfed, it outspeeds the Talonflame, so I basically have to sack something. I sack Hippowdon, and that was a bad play as well on my part, because it basically means Hippowdon dies to, basically Hippowdon can't do anything, whereas if I had sacked Tentacle, who also dies to a Dark Bolt, if I sacked Tentacle, I could have sacked Tentacle, gone into Hippowdon and clicked Ice Fang. And Empoleon can't come in because in case I Earthquake. Same with Metagross and Clefable maybe could come in. Gliscor would probably die at this range, so I messed up there basically. Shouldn't have sacked Hippowdon, I should have sacked Tentacle. I had the Brave Bird here and I basically had to go for it because it is at that range it 2 KOs these Empoleon. But I go into Tentacle, and again, this was another bad play, because I should have just gone for it, because I had nothing to lose. At that point, my worry was that it basically whittled down, and then Metagross gets a free switch, but I shouldn't have thought of it like that. I should have basically made the play. As you can see here, I go for Confuse Ray, the Scald, plus the Burn and Sandstorm damage kills the Tentacle. I bring in Talonflame for the Flare Blitz, it dies, and then Hydreigon comes in and kills Latias with Dark Bolt. GG Alex, because that was a very good game. She made some amazing predictions. Very good plays on her behalf. We went at the end of this game, so it's now 8 games played, 7-1, which isn't great. Well, it's good, but I would have preferred to have won this game, obviously. So yeah, I do know that there's a lack of layout, as you probably be accustomed to by now, but they will be returning afterwards once I'm kind of back up to speed. But for now, you've reached the end of my video. To show my thanks for you watching the whole thing, here's a picture of Jesus riding Arceus.